Hey, hi everyone. Welcome to Synth Geekery episode 271. Nice to have you here. It's a weekly podcast. We come streaming all the way from where we're actually in a place called Perth in Western Australia, which is like right down the bottom of the world. And we're going all the way across the world to you. I think we're all used to this internet stuff by now. I'm still pretty amazed by it, to be fair. Anyway, what's the show about? It's about synthesizers and drum machines and sequencers and music technology and the people behind all that stuff, which is probably more important than the gear itself. Let's be honest. Nice to have you here. If you're watching live, do jump into the chat room and say g'day and say where you're from. That'd be nice to hear from you, especially if you're new. And also, if you're watching this on replay, do pop a like and a comment in the thing below, and let us know if you're enjoying the show. If you've got any suggestions, please feel free to give those our way as well. Right, well, we have got a bumper of a show this week. We've got lots of products to get through, as we do every week. And we've got our regular segments coming up as well. And also we have this segment at the end called Saturday Sonority. I don't even know what we're going to be doing in that yet. So I've got an idea, but we'll see how we go anyway. Just to remind everyone too, we are streaming live on both Twitch and on YouTube. So if you prefer to use the Twitch platform, if you're an Amazon person, go and join Twitch there and make sure you do all the Twitch things, or if you want, you can stay where you are on YouTube, and that is completely fine as well. Don't forget to support us. We have lots of different ways you can do that. You can join as a member. Just literally, there's a join button right below if you're on YouTube. And if you're on Twitch, you can do the follow. So do the follow on those sort of things. I have got some stuff enabled on Streamlabs ready to rock and roll. So if you do things like put through a tip through Streamlabs, which is this link here, wrong button, and it's also pinned at the top of the chat, the TTS text to speech will pop on through, so that's always cool to do. And also, don't forget, if you do like the stream, don't forget to click like and tell everyone that you are happy with what you're seeing. So, without further ado, I might just jump over to here and say g'day to everybody. Hello, guys. How's everyone?
Hello.
We're good.
G'day. Good.
Traveling fine.
Good. Nice.
Andy.
Me. Andy's gotten up early.
Welcome, Andy.
Full house.
No, you're muted, mate.
You've got his
you've got his
That's
audio
how
on.
bad it is when he's muted.
His audio's on. We'll hang on. We'll just pause the show, mate. Just for you. No, we're just kidding. What we'll do is we will.
Morning here.
It can only get
voice.
better. Don't worry.
You know what we're going to do? We're going to do something different this week. By the way, if you're wondering, everyone that's here on the screen in front of you are coming from different parts of the world. We're not all sitting in the same studio. If you hadn't worked that out, so they'll tell you where they're from. And what I'll do first is I'm going to go across to the Chatties first and say g'day to the Chatties, especially a massive big hello to our channel members. We've got you'll see the channel members who have got the Synth Geekery logo next to their name, but also let's just have a quick hello to, like, Mr. Kent Spong is there, and people like these people. Actually, let's go to these people here. These people who actually support the channel. And I have updated this, so this is actually correct this week. So these are our Patreons, and these are our YouTube channel members. So give yourself a pat on the back if you're one of these people. Why does it work this week? I just don't get it. Anyway, it's nice to have everybody here. What I want you to start with saying our g'days. Is your audio working, Andy?
Is it working now?
Yeah, let's go to you because we got your audio working. Yeah. How's your week been, mate?
Still sick with this nasty flu, so almost over it, I think.
Oh, that's been a long one.
2 weeks is kind of normal, right? I mean, that's flu, so I mean, I've
Yeah,
never had
true,
COVID,
true, true.
so that would have been a nasty thing. But yeah, so just doing that, and not a whole lot to write home about, to be honest. It's been kind of a I'm busy doing lots of different stuff, but nothing much to report on. There's a little bit of music stuff for hardware jams, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but just here to hang out, have fun, so stay awake. So,
Fair
how's that for
enough.
excitement?
That's exciting. It's very exciting. How could it not be exciting? All right, what random button can I hit next? Why don't we go across to a different part of the world which Ian used to hang around in? Is he still there? Yay, he's there.
I'm still here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. You're a little bit jerky on the video.
I'm a bit jerky, so I apologise if I'm a bit jerky. I am currently in the sunny city of York, my hometown, back doing an audiophile, not an audiophile radio show, the Aesthetica Film Festival, and we've been here since Tuesday reviewing that with Jason. We've been putting videos up every day, and I went and played an EMOM on Wednesday night. Ooh. So I went and played the York EMOM again, which was quite fun. Got to see a load of old friends. I mean, literally 3/4 of the pub came over and said, "Oh, it's good." You know, felt a little bit homesick. And I'm staying in my friend Debbie and Nigel's house in Clifton, so that's quite nice of them to sort of put us up, really. And we're here till Monday. So yeah, I'm after a film premiere tonight. We've got a lot of films and masterclasses to see tomorrow. So it's a good thing. Quite tiring. It's a bit like the editing in that respect. You know, you're running around all day, but it's good stuff. Just glad to be here, and hopefully the Wi-Fi will settle down shortly. I hope. It is a bit blocky at the moment.
Awesome. Well, it's nice for you to join us from a different place. That's really nice and
a different location.
Thoughtful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, we will
out and about with Ian.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
If I'm right with my geography, if I get a little carrier pigeon and I head west from where you are, I would end up in Daren's house.
More or less, give or take.
I mean, I might go south a bit, or I think it might be a bit sort of west and then a bit south. But you'll get
Drift
there
off
eventually.
A bit.
Yeah.
It's still the same. It's still the same lovely sunny day, as you can see. Not got my camera turned up to full whack to make it brighter. And nothing to report really. I'm not writing a track this show, so you're all right. Although do be careful what you do say, because anything I might grab. But this time I'm gonna actually not write a track. It was only just to see whether I could do it. So other than that, brilliant. Nothing to report, because I've basically not done anything. Yeah, no. Well, the vocals sort of made it. Some of the vocals were really cool. So
fair enough.
Yeah, so you never know where the vocals may end up. Exactly. Time is everything. Well, when you think about it, everything to do with music is time. Whether it's wasting it, spending it wisely, or right down to the sine wave being timed. Right. Anyway, nothing to report, I'm afraid. Just working.
Quiet week.
Just quietly hoping.
Fantastic.
Haven't nothing to report, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. It's
well, obviously
bit like my studio, a bit dull.
The video, you posted a video, so you should probably tell people about the video a bit,
Video? What video?
The track.
Oh yeah, well, I put out last week. It was just I was just writing the track.
But it was after my show.
The show was going on. It was after the show. Yeah, it was after the show. I had to do the video.
It was really good.
After the show, I couldn't do the video
fantastic.
It was brilliant.
Yeah, it come out better than I was expecting, actually, because when I was listening to it with one ear whilst the show was going on, and I was trying to grab, I had to capture longer frames of the vocals, because I sort of hear when, like, with Chris was saying, I think you said something, Ranzee, Eddie said something, and those things just sort of thought, I want them. So some of them I had to go back and grab because I'd missed them. But yeah, it was better than I thought it was going to come out, because I didn't think it was going to come out as good using the reverbs and everything, because we're all about mushy reverbs. So I was doing it with 1A in mono. So all I did was the video the next day, basically, which was quite quick because it was just a quick iMovie thing. So it didn't take 5 minutes for that. But yeah, so if you haven't checked it, go and check what we do on the show. We talk time.
Makes the show look a lot funner than it is. Oops.
You should really go through that stuff.
Oh yeah. There's another vocal.
Really nerdy. There you go. There's a sneak preview of it. You guys can go check it out. All right, now we're going to head over to somewhere near me, and that would be you, Chris. Hey
everyone. My week been in the workshop working. Had some interesting progress actually on the envelope generator module. Last week I told you about the DC offset issue, as it was perceived to be at the time. I wasn't sure, but I did some tweaks and some modifications and tested the results, and things were looking much better on the scope, but they sounded absolutely awful. So I went back to the original design, and it's beautiful. It's obviously the right thing to be. You know, sometimes you should trust your ears, not look on what's on the scope. So I think this is a classic case of instincts were correct. I tried it on quite a lot of VCAs, and there was at least one or two VCAs that went, I don't like this other signal. The one when I tried to make it look nicer on the scope. But no, when I reverted back to the original settings, everything started sounding right. Everything started responding right. Even the LED looks like it. You know, the LED on the module actually looks like it matches the sound you're hearing. So, yeah, that was an interesting learning experience. Sometimes on paper things aren't what they seem, and sometimes things that you're not supposed to do are actually exactly what you're supposed to do. So, interesting lesson learned. But the good news is I don't have to change the circuit, so it's now going to be ready for production, which we might talk about a bit later. But anyway, for the rest of the week, yes, keeping up with the news, did a bit of press for the shop, and yeah, a few sick people in the house, unfortunately. That was the beginning of the week, but they've gotten better, so that's good. Yep, so that was it for me. Off you do.
Awesome. There we go. Okay, so as we do every week, we have our regular segments, and I think we should get stuck into those, starting with... We always start with this one. Let's start again with this one. Why not? One week I might mix it up, but let's do it. Let's keep it normal. Stranger things can happen on the funny side, and Ranzee gets busy and edits cartoons that he sees on the net and turns them into synthy ones. Yep. I just thought that was waiting for a synthesizer to be sitting at the chair. That one, definitely.
Yeah, well done. I didn't know you could draw like that, Rance.
It's called Photoshop, mate. All right. Next, what do we have? Me and my team planning on how to sneak another synth into the house without alerting my wife. I mean, you need the brains trust here, boys. The plans are out, the blueprints. You've got to have
heist movie.
Oh, you've got to have someone who's into electronics, someone who's a lock picker. You need everything. Probably someone into law,
the contortionist,
an acrobat. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. What else do we have? We have we can relate, right? This is me in 2016 with a little desktop module that did a bit of modular in it. And then I got the bug. And then in 2024, I still think I need more. Yes. Who feels sad now that they've seen this?
Just a little bit.
Definitely not me, is it?
We're just fueling the haters, aren't we? We're fueling the haters. Oh, look, see, I was right. You guys are idiots. No.
Yeah. Where's Robbie?
they told me I should channel Herbie Hancock.
Yeah.
Well, to be fair, Herbie did sort of get into the mix quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Boom, boom, chush. Yeah. Big hello to Herbie if he's watching. I doubt it, but anyway. He's probably tucked up in bed. He lives in LA, doesn't he, Andy?
I think so.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
he did at some point.
You-
Yeah.
I don't think.
I think so. Too.
I think he used to live in New York, and I think he moved to LA.
Great musician though.
Yeah,
Something really, really good.
absolutely. He was here in my
the early
city.
albums are great.
He was here in my city, actually. Right. What else have we got? Speaking of Robbie, he gets everywhere, doesn't he? Robbie's all over the place, hey? A DX7 does not change in terms of service. A DX7 does not ask for your email. Keep going. There we go. Lovely.
True of a lot of hardware. Although these days, less and less.
Indeed.
Sad.
Memes. Gentlemen, ladies, and chatties. What was your favourite this week? Was it Ranz's poor attempt at cartoons? Or was it the truth about sneaking synths in the house?
I like channeling Herbie.
Well,
Hancock
I think
also.
that's one for Keith, isn't it? Keith from Watford, sneaking the synths. I think I'm going to go with Herbie Hancock.
Herbie Hancock hiding in the mixer?
Yeah.
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 The Herbie one took me a little while to get, so I'll put a second vote for that.
Okay.
It's to do with where the words were placed.
Right. What are the chatties saying? The chatties are saying the Eurorack den channeling Herbie. Ooh. Sneaking synths in. Okay. Well, Keith, we know that's right up your alley, mate. Did you get any ideas though, Keith? I think
Yes,
the blueprint,
plans.
getting the blueprints out of your house might help.
Inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it a cake. No, honey, it's not a synth, it's a cake. You know how they do that these days. Is it a cake or is it a synth? No, it's a cake. It's fine.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have
Don't
to
worry
give it
about
to Herbie. Herbie gets it this week.
Herbs?
Yeah, I think Herbie got it. Yeah. Close, though. Close, but I think most people said Herbie in the chat. So we'll go with that one. And I don't care if you don't agree with that because it's my show. Right. We should keep going. What do you reckon? Time for some news.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, hot off the press. Have we got some news for you?
Ooh.
There is a new product out, and it is literally by this gentleman.
Products.
Yeah, right here. And I'm going to hand it over. I'm just going to go... what should I do? I'll probably go full screen on this so you guys can see it, actually.
Yeah.
So, over to you, Chris. Whoa, hey, wait. What? Whoa, hey, hang on a minute. Jeez.
Whoa, what's going on? That Chris, you launched a lot of products there. Some of
Yeah, I
them
know.
look like they're copying.
I went mad and started impersonating.
Hang on, let's see
I've
if
gone
we can,
Behringer and I'm cloning everyone else's products.
let's see if we can get the graphic back. Why did I just do that? All right, here we go. Bang.
Thank you, Rance. Hello. Yes, it's me again. These
pop
are
you
the
up
two
in the
new
corner.
modules. Cheers. Where are we? Hi, hello. These are my two new modules. The one on the right is called the TARgent, and that's our 3 envelopes in a 6 HP module. And the one to our left is called the TreXi, which is an expander to the TARgent. First thing is the TARgent is 3 envelope generators with a slow and a fast mode for each one. It doesn't say it there, but they're normal to each other. So if you plug something into the first input, it'll automatically normal to the second and third and so on. And if you plug a signal in to interrupt it, then it'll take that envelope. It goes from left to right. It's as you can see there, it's got an attenuator for the first channel, and it's 0 to 10 volts swinging envelope generator, pretty traditional. It has times up to 6.5 seconds for release and up to 210 milliseconds for an attack. I can explain later why I chose that particular configuration. The snappiness trimmers, the little trimmer down there, little picture trimmer, that actually allows you to tune how snappy the front of your envelopes are when you have the minimum attack times. Which, some envelopes kind of a little bit sluggish on the uptake. And what this does is it just boosts, it just pumps it really hard, which means you get a really sharp transition, almost like a square wave at the front, which sometimes it's exactly what you need. And it has the expandable port on the back is now a ribbon cable connection to this other module I have here on the left, which is called the TreXi. Now, the TreXi is a 4 HP module, and what it does is it does advanced signal processing of your gates, and it also has a dedicated CV input and a dedicated potentiometer. The other thing it has is 5 user uploadable programs via a MIDI jack, and it even has optional WIDI support, but that's experimental at this stage. I've got the modules and I've got my WIDI working this week. I forgot to mention that. WIDI is working. So it has 2 dedicated parameters and 2 shared parameters. More about that in a moment. But the other weird thing about this module is you can write on it. So if you notice there, in the middle of the module, there's some helpful instructions on what the button does, because a short press is changing parameter and a long press is for changing your program modes or patches. And sometimes it's easy to forget these things. One of the downsides of my previous module is that you may have to keep on going back to the manual, which is
2 heavy metal balls together.
Oh, what's that? Somebody's smacking 2 heavy metal balls together. And the other thing that's underneath
Sorry about that was my phone came on.
Yeah, no worries. So down the left you see there we've got red, green, blue, orange and purple. They're your LED colours, and to the right is a little label where you can use a marker, permanent marker usually works best, to write down what user patch you have loaded there. The main reason being it's very easy to, with something where you can upload patches and there's no screen or anything like that. It's really good to have a reminder. And I hate blank panel space, so I decided to make use of it for something useful for people. So that's why that's there. Now just going back onto what the front panel contains, because that needs a bit of explanation. So the pot is it's a dedicated pot. It's not shared with the rest of the module, with the TARgent. It's completely independent. And CV1 is also completely independent. So they're 2 new, completely new functions that you get with the expander. The other controls, the other inputs have kind of a shared, except for the MIDI port I mentioned, have a shared function, as in they actually mimic 1 or 2 of the front panel jacks on the TARgent. So you can actually patch it 2 different ways. You can have stuff going into the TARgent module, or you can have stuff going into the expander. The idea with the is that if you're using the expander specifically and you want to remember what port is what, going into the expander is by far the easiest thing to do. But you have that option of also using one of the other inputs on the TARgent itself. This is kind of a quirk of the the electronics, but it's also potentially useful. Say, for example, if you're struggling with patch cabling, or you've got a patch cable that's not long enough. The other thing is at the bottom there is just a hardware through, just an unbuffered multiple for the sync-in jack, which is also shared with the primary input on the TARgent module. But that is basically intended to be your synchronization pulse for the programs, for the patches. So if we just go back to, thanks Rance. On the right hand side, I might ask you politely to move, yes, if you could, that's excellent. Now there's 5 uploadable patches. I may update that to more, but there's obviously no more panel space to actually write down what they are. But if we can fit more, I probably will add that as kind of a stretch goal. Patches are written in a language called blocks, which is just a simple to use, lightweight kind of block language. A bit like a pure data, but way, way, way simpler. It's going to be designed for actually running on fairly modest powered CPUs. So it's optimized and it's very simple. So the intention here is not to create complicated patches. The intention is to create useful but customized patches. The specification will be completely open, so if anyone wants to write their own editor or generate their own patches in another way than what I might provide for them, they can do that. I'll make sure the specs are up on a GitHub or something. It's a stretch goal for this project will be to actually create a GUI editor that runs in a web browser, using all client-side technology, so that, there's no dependency on a server somewhere. Which on this show we've talked about how annoying that is, having a server somewhere that needs to run in order for you to get access to your software. So the idea is to keep it client-side, which I've had some experience of in the past. It's definitely doable. Some examples there of the patches that I can think of to start with myself are obvious stuff like a simple gate trigger, so turning gate signals into like drum triggers. The other way around, turning drum triggers back into gates, variable length. And obviously you've got CV control and knob control, which you could arrange in different ways depending on how you write your patch, I guess. A simple gate multiplier, which would be familiar with people who use the GP82. It's basically a version of that patch, but with an actual, obviously, driving into an envelope. Random gates, obviously pretty similar to the GP82 as well, where you have the ability to skip events, skip triggers, giving you some bit of randomness. Syncable cascading of envelopes. Now, I'll just explain this. The idea being that you can have an envelope fire from a single input trigger. You have an envelope fire, and then a period of time later, this is under synchronization with the syncing jack, another event occurs in the other envelope, and then another event occurs in the other envelope. So you can have, it's kind of like doing a delay kind of effect, but of course they're on envelopes, so you could trigger anything. You could trigger this, open it on 3 different synth notes, or you could have one on a kick and the other one on a snare and the other one on a bass note or something. So you could do that. Round robin switching, which is more like a sequential kind of switch thing, where every successive input signal transition will cause a different envelope to generate. Actually, just thinking of that, we could add some randomness to that as well, which would be quite fun. But I like the idea of a round robin. That's kind of it's almost like wave sequencing in a way, because you could just have a different oscillator going through a different envelope, or like that, and you could have each successive note from a external sequencer generating 3 different timbres or something like that. Yep, so that's pretty much explained everything that's planned for this. The TARgent is pretty close to being sellable. I just have to make a decision on whether I want to sell the module before the TreXi is fully completed. Might get some feelings on from people in the chat, and perhaps from you guys on the stream, what you think would be the right strategy with respect to modules that have expanders. I mean, sometimes, the usual modus operandi around the modular world is you just, either say it's coming and let people wait, or you don't announce it at all and then you surprise announce it. I'm a bit wary of the postage costs from from Australia, and I'm worried about pissing off customers, because there was something they could have bought and saved on their postage if they bought them at the same time. But at the same token, I don't want to.
Close it is to being finished.
Yeah, that's the thing. We're talking probably 3 months between the two, maybe 2, if I work really fast. Yeah, so it's one of those things where I mean, certainly once the module itself is completely ready, and maybe there's a bit more work to do on the patch editing environment, I would feel pretty comfortable about releasing it at that point. How would you guys think? What do you guys think?
I mean, the question will be is that people will ask is like how much are you missing if you don't get the expander? Like how?
And of course, the trick
How
thing about,
how good is TARgent on its own, and what does the expander bring to the table?
That would be, I would think that would be what you'd be thinking, isn't it? Because you'd be going, well, I've got envelopes, so I don't really need it. It doesn't really do anything different from what it does now. But with that TreXi thing, yeah, I might wait until he releases the TreXi. So this is why I'm sort of in two minds about how to do it. I know there's going to be a few modular people who are just getting started and would quite like a module to just a simple module that has three
triple EG,
envelopes. Yeah, exactly. It might be quite handy for them, just as it is. But you're right, Rance. It doesn't have the wow factor until you add the TreXi. Makes it a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
But the same token, of course, is what are you missing? Well, that's of course the thing about a user programmable device. Who knows what we're going to miss by waiting? It's always a difficult proposition whenever we buy a module. You don't know quite. It's like buying a Ornaments of Crime or something, or FX8 or something. Sometimes the programs don't turn up till years later, and you're just going, ooh. Someone buying it now would, immediately get it for that algorithm. But when I bought it, that algorithm wasn't even available. It's just part of being in the game, I guess.
Yeah, I think a few chatties have sort of said similar things. Like it's probably a good idea to have the expander ready when you release it. Yeah, and then it gives people the option to get it at the same time.
That's my instinct. I mean, that's the perfect world. It's a case of yeah, it's going to depend on the timing, isn't it? It's going to depend. I think I'm going to know in 4 weeks where I am with TreXi to know whether it is an issue or not. If there's going to be any significant delays. I think that'll tell me what to do next, I think. But yeah, now my instinct is the same. I like to have all this up and running and sold at the same time. I mean, it's just no brainer for me. I want it all, and I want it all now.
Yeah. Looks really cool though. Yeah. I have to say.
Purple knobs,
Daren?
are them a fixture?
Yep.
Purple knobs, are them a fixture?
Yes.
Oh, is that
you can have any coloured knobs you want. So a note about the knobs. The knobs are just normal tall toppers from Thonk. So you can have all sorts of different colours if you wanted to. You just get the little knobs and pull these ones off, or maybe I'll allow people to buy a certain combination, or they could get really complicated. But one of the things about the knobs is that they do work, but not to my satisfaction in terms of how nicely they fit on my knobs. So a couple of them using knobs, but mine are the gutter people. So I might be having to modify them, which of course means customers will have to buy the knobs from me in order for them to fit properly. So it's always a it's never perfect, is it? As a DIY sort of boutique manufacturer, you're always having to compromise. This, they manufacture a part and it's not quite compatible, and you can't really turn around to them and say, "Gee, I'm just a tiny little guy from Australia. You couldn't just make a whole lot of custom knobs for me and sell it to me at the same price as you sell your other knobs." And of course, I'm not in the injection molding knob business. Unfortunately, it's one of those ones. I do have my own knobs that I do 3D print that go on them. They're just not quite as pretty as these knobs.
Awesome.
Well done, Chris.
All right. I think the next.
I was going to say well done as well.
The next stage, I think, is we need to see it in action and what you can do with it.
Videos will be the next step, other than my weekly reports, so to speak. A video.
Now, in your
show
videos,
me the money.
When you do, in your videos, when you do your videos, will you be doing the videos with both modules?
Yes.
In which
Yes,
case,
I will-
then I would wait to release it,
Mm.
because otherwise you'd be showing someone something with 2 modules and they can't buy that expander.
I could definitely do a video first, just introducing the TARgent on by itself, standalone. There's no harm in doing that. I mean, there's probably a few.
No, there's no harm in doing that. It
Yeah.
was just if you was going to show. I would thought if you was going to show both modules doing what they can do, and then there's only one up that it's possible to get.
Exactly.
then
Yeah. That doesn't sit right with me either, Darren. That's why I'm saying over the next 4 weeks, I think the decision will be made what the timing will be on the videos and the release of the product.
Indeed.
Well, they look cool anyway. I like the.
Cheers.
I know you've only stuck the purple on, but I think I quite like the purple knobs on them anyway.
Yeah, that's my favourite colour combination so far, I have to say. The photography went rather well this week. It was a lot of fun.
All right. Fantastic. All right. I think we should move on to the next. No worries. No worries indeed. Now, this next product, I've got a little intro video to play you guys, and then we'll come back and have a little chat about it. Here it is.
The Turismo is a complete modern Eurorack modular workstation, packed with an expertly curated selection of modules, combining the best of both digital and analog technologies for a creative and fun patching experience with a one-of-a-kind ALM character. It features analog and digital oscillators, creative sampling, filtering, mixing, wide-ranging DSP effects, sequencing, flexible modulation, MIDI and external audio inputs. Building on the original System Coupe, the Turismo provides the complete ALM modular experience, effortlessly blending vast exploration with the simplicity and fun that ALM is known for. Let's build a full track from start to finish using...
Let's not. But there we go. There's the Turismo from ALM. Now, this is similar to what I showed last week from Make Noise. This is a pre-configured system. And in this particular case, they've got a whole bunch of modules that they feel is kind of conducive to what they... it's like an ALM sort of world. A couple of things to sort of point out here is if you were to compare this to the Make Noise, they are 2 completely different systems indeed. In fact, the ALM system is probably more, probably more seated around the sampler, because you've got the squid sample there, and the sequencer, and it's kind of like a different beast. But in terms of some of the things that you get in this, you get the Pamela's Pro Workout. I mean, that's probably like one of the go-to modules that any Eurorack person would want to get. And there's an MFX in there, which is pretty cool. It's like a multi-effects module with lots of different algorithms, like clouds and black hole and delays and all sorts of stuff there. A lot of connectivity too, like double M MIDI, buffs, and then you've got some interesting things like the Tasmo. So like an FM module, that is. So I just feel like it's got a bit of interesting stuff. And in terms of the sound, you probably just heard the music coming out from the back of it just then. A lot of it was a mix of stuff coming out of the squid sample, so you could put any sample on there. And on top of that, the generative stuff's in there as well. I don't know if anyone's ever played with the squid sample. It's actually quite intuitive, that module, in terms of just on its own. You've got, I think it's 8 sample outputs. It's either 6 or 8. I think it's 8. This is just off the top of my head, without looking at any notes or anything like that. And those 8 individual samples can be routed anywhere from, audio, but also controlled via CV as well. And it's actually quite ingenious. The only thing negative I would say about the squid sample is the sample rate's a bit on the low side. I think it's like CD quality. But I mean, we don't really care about this sort of stuff when we're mucking around. But yeah. Anyway, we're looking at, I think my notes said it was about the $4,200 mark for the whole lot. But I do believe this is once again one of those things that if you were to buy all the stuff individually, you would probably be spending more than that. It also comes with a deck saver cover, travel side 84 HP. 84 HP, just if you guys kind of don't know how big 84 HP is, if you've ever seen the Arturia rack brute, they're 84 HP. So it gives you a sort of, if you've ever gone and looked at a rack brute, that gives you an idea. The rack brute's 6U, not the 3U. The 6U, this particular one is also 6U because you've got 2 rows of 3U. So that will give you an idea of size. And yeah, you've got analog synths in here. You've got digital synths, sampling, and DSP. I mentioned that before. The modulation sequencing stuff is pretty big in here too with the ASQ, Pamela's new workout. Pamela's Pro new workout, I should say. And also there's the Mega Slope, which is the complex multi-stage envelope generator and LFO. And yeah, I kind of, I liked the feature list. I thought it was pretty cool. Anyone want to comment on these pre-built systems?
Sounds good.
I should get a cricket sound.
Yeah.
You haven't mentioned. You didn't mention the sizzle.
Tumbleweed, mate.
Yeah, the sizzler.
We talked about the sizzle. We showed that on the show quite a few months ago.
We did. Yeah.
I've still got it on my way down on my wish list, but it is one of those ones where I thought, sizzle. I thought it deserved a mention because that's the CS.
That's the CS.
Chris. Yeah.
The Casio CZ series. Phase distortion. Keep going, Ian. Keep going, Ian.
Yeah, this is the Christmas present we should all buy Robbie, I think. We should all club together and buy Robbie this Christmas present.
He'd love that.
It's not another handkerchief, is it?
Yeah. Although getting Robbie to be...
If I was going to get some more... This is exactly the sort of thing that I would be buying if I was going to get into modular.
Well, one thing
I'd
I like
rather buy something like this that it's all.
Yeah.
One thing I like about ALM is they kind of approach things that we know about and bring them to us in a cool way. So, like, I'll give you an example. So they do the SID Guts Deluxe module. It's not in this one, which is a Commodore 64 SID chip. And then they bring all the features of the SID chip out into modular so that you can access it and use it. The Squid sample I mentioned before, how it's a 8-track sample player, and it's actually really, really intuitive. So it's like bringing playing samples in a Eurorack way that you can then manipulate using control voltages and, triggering things with the gates and envelopes and stuff like that, LFOs. Yeah. So I just kind of feel like the way ALM go about their world, it's kind of like, I guess it would probably sort of fit in that techno sort of world if you were to sort of think about what sort of generative music you'd get out of this, techno / electronica. That's kind of their world.
I know what you mean, Rance. So they speak the language, so to speak. They speak kind of Eurorack language rather than some manufacturers will put out modules that very, look a bit like someone's taken some technology from another area and bolted it into a Eurorack environment. And the thing about ALM is that they do tend to try to reimagine the product in the context as if it was originally designed to be part of a modular system. And that's when they'll do some clever things that break the rules and you wouldn't normally do. But they've gone, no, we need to do it that way so that it behaves more like the rest of modular. Again, speaking a language.
And once again, getting a system... I feel like if you were really like a big fan of ALM, and then it's a bit like last week, we said the same thing about Make Noise with their system. if you were a big fan of Make Noise, or if you're a big fan of ALM, you'd go, okay, this is actually pretty cool. This is what they kind of feel is what most people would need as a good setup. It kind of has that, do you know what I mean? It has that sort of quality about it. Like, you start to think to yourself, okay, why did they go with that? And then you start like looking at the layout, and why did they put that module up the top left and then the next one next to it? And, you know, and you start to study some of the decisions that these manufacturers make, and you start to think, actually, that's really, really clever. I like what they've done there. And then it gives you ideas with your own system. And, you know, one of the things we love to do is, in Eurorack land, is we like to go on modular grid and configure our skids, you know. Yeah. So,
I'm a big fan of these guys. I have a bunch of their stuff, but I'm not into shared systems. I want to build my own stuff. So
that's the thing. I mean, the interesting thing about any of these companies that produce these modules, a large family of these modules, a lot of the people involved in the company may not generally have a lot of ALM-only equipment, you know, modules. They might have just a mixture of stuff, because they're just as much a fan of all modular stuff as we are. So it's kind of a bit rare these days that you're going to get the manufacturer focusing on their own modules and own to try to build a complete system, because even they're not that fanatical in a way. It takes a real fan to want to make it all work together and to optimize it to just work at its best. It's kind of a different level. It's like a super fan, you know. It's kind of So I think that's why we're seeing this. Is that people realise that there are
clean, very nice.
Yeah,
but it's one of those systems when you buy these pre-arranged systems. It's like, yeah, this is great, and then after a while you think, but wouldn't it be good if we have such and such in? And by the time you finish, you start adding your bits in, and it becomes not what it was originally. Hence, it costs more.
Well, that's why you can pull the modules out, which is, I think, the good thing about it. I kind of thought the same thing, Darren, and then I thought to myself, why have they put the ASQ in there? It's such a big, chunky module. I never really sort of loved it personally. But then I started, because this thing came out pretty much the next day after my show last week, and I was checking it out all week, sort of thing. I actually started to investigate the ASQ, and I thought, wow, this is actually a lot cooler than I thought. I mean, it does look chunky. It takes up a lot of HP, but geez, it's. I mean, we can go into it.
And if I were them, I would do what Make Noise does: do a skiff that goes with this, and put that guy down there, and some of the more slidery things and other kinds of
touchy things
down in the skiff.
Yeah. I almost feel as though, we're moving away from having everything up at your patch panel these days.
Annoying. I think we should. Some things you want to actually really manipulate, and it's you're fighting gravity.
Exactly. I'm feeling a bit more these days about breaking out some of these modules to their own little satellites.
Yeah,
and it's more tactile, and we can touch it.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting decision. But
yep. All right, let's go to the next. The next one is a tiny little module here from another one of my favorite Eurorack manufacturers, a company called Klavis. They've never written to me to say how do you pronounce their name. I think it's Klavis. Anyway, this is a dual voltage comparator, and it's also a window comparator. So we can start getting into sort of engineering terms here, and people will just start glazing over with their eyes.
Yes. That's why I put up graphs. I tried to put up graphs.
Let's put some graphs up. But just think about this. Like, most people who are into synth and sound designs should understand the idea of an A idea and a B idea, right? And so you've got an A idea and a B idea, and then you want to be able to do something cool that's based on those two things, those two states, right? And this is what a comparator does. So you've got this normalized A will copy the signal into B for a comparison. And then what it does is it does these things like high and low bipolar threshold adjustments. It does things like high inputting and adds to the settings type thing. So for example, you will get separate outputs for the high setting between the high and the low and in the low setting. And so this is kind of like a logic function in a way. And you can use this to do a whole bunch of really, really cool stuff. Now, they haven't brought a video out yet of this, which I think is something that they really, really need to do. There are some people who have got the pre-release versions that have done videos, but I can't show them because I don't have their permission. But there's what is the other thing I was going to say about this? Kind of what you'd want to use this for, if you're wondering, is you want a module that you want to manipulate triggering events with and reshaping and mangle waveforms. That's kind of what you would use this for. And you've got
at
two
audio
sections.
level or at CV modulation type levels.
Yep.
You do it both ways. Yeah.
You can use the two sections independently as well. So you could kind of use it as a mult as well if you wanted to. A bit expensive mult though. Yeah. Anyway, so this is only
3 HP, is it?
Pretty small indeed. Yeah.
3. It looks like 3.
Where's the HP on this? Yep, 3 HP.
This is another one of our odd HPs, which I was explained last week is very useful in the Rack Brute because that has a 5 HP power module.
Yeah, and it also has a really, really annoying edge on it.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean? So when you get your modules right to the edge and you think to yourself, just one more HP, Arturia, just one more HP.
Yes.
And you feel like getting the sanding block out and just, I might just take a little bit of that wood out.
I have a milling machine, so that doesn't present such a problem for me. Yes.
Anyway, so the
Ranzee, do they have like an audio example of what this does to your system? I'm just curious. I've used something like this in the past, but I don't remember what it actually does.
I reckon that one of the things that you could compare this to in a really basic way is the Behringer Roland System 100M did a module which has the gate and it takes a high and a low. So you can actually change what happens with a gate signal based on whether something's coming in high or whether something's coming in low, depending on how you configure it, right? And then that will trigger an event based on what you decide. So a high and a low could be like a square wave, right?
It's like a Bernoulli gate, kind of, right?
Yeah, in a way. But this thing is kind of like in terms of its logic, you're going to be sort of creating its logic as opposed to it having logic in it. So it's not like a Euclidean sequencer or anything like that inside. You're creating logic with using the high and the low manipulations.
Yeah, because you're providing the parameters which it makes the decisions.
Yeah,
which means you can provide dynamic parameters, so it makes different decisions. So that's now 3 inputs that are affecting the output, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's also normalized as well. So you don't have to put 3 inputs into it. You can put 1 input into it and then manipulate them as well. So it's pretty interesting anyway. You can do similar things with the Make Noise Maths. You can do similar things with a whole bunch of other modules that are out there. But I think what these guys have done is they've brought a few ideas together in this to give you sort of like that whole sort of comparator definition when you're working in Eurorack. It's really kind of handy. But Daren will like this if he used his marbles more.
Right.
Daren like this if he actually used his modular more.
So if you park this thing next to a marbles, and on the left-hand side of your marbles, you've got all the gate stuff, right? On the right-hand side, you've got all your control voltages, volt, pitch per octave, right? Chuck this on the left-hand side next to your marbles, and then you can start manipulating all the cool things that marbles will send out, and then muck around with comparator next to that, and you can do some really, really cool things. Maybe put a buff mult next to that as well. And then you've got yourself some really cool patching coming out of marbles. Yeah, because marbles has got 3. Marbles has got 3 transmit gates, right? And it depends on how you manipulate the 3 transmit gates with their controls, right? But you could take 2 of the transmit gates out of marbles, bring it into this, and because the way that you're manipulating the gate triggering on marbles, that can then manipulate your comparator. It's going to be some really interesting results coming out of that. And then you could probably pop an LFO, like a square wave LFO, into this and get some really interesting results.
It's good for experimenting.
It's on your list, isn't it?
I think so, because just a little Pico, Erica Synth Pico drum module next to that.
Yeah.
Imagine all the cool things that's coming out of that. Because you think marbles is pretty much aimed at drums. I mean, that was its kind of first thought. Put a few drum modules next to that. Then this comparator, and you're going to trigger a whole bunch of different events at the same time. So yeah, I like it. I like it. Can't remember how much they said it was worth. No price. Someone will find a price. Here we go. Buy. Let's see if they can find a buy. Oh no, I've got to find a shop. Yeah, no, let's not do that now. Someone will tell us in chat what it's worth. But yeah, give it a go. Don't be scared of this sort of stuff, because I feel like if you're into that sort of sequency sort of side of
$146 US.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah. Every single one of the modules that I've ever bought has been rock solid too. And you got two different faceplates. You got the silvery white thing that you're seeing there, and you've also got the reverse of that. So it's like a black faceplate.
Oh yes, yeah, they're clever the way they do that.
Yeah,
have different silk screening on it. It means you have to make your modules symmetrical.
Said something about the thing glowing as well. I can't remember what they said about that. Anyway, 3 LEDs indicate the output logic. There was something about it glowing. There's a picture of it on their website of it glowing. Anyway, it's not a big deal. We should move on. What's next? Andy, let's watch a video. I'm going to pop you out for a sec. The Magerit Kolora. What's this about, people? If only you knew.
Anti-knowledge.
I like the the analogy with the palette with all the art.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was good. Well done video.
It was clever.
Yeah, it was very clever.
Yeah, it was actually. Yeah.
They do spend a lot of money on their videos. It's
Spanish, I think, aren't these guys? I'm pretty sure that they're Spanish. If you haven't worked it out, it's a synth module for Eurorack. It's $515 US. It's quite a big module.
42.
Yeah, 42 HP, quite deep, 25mm, not including the plug. But it is actually 2 oscillators, analog and digital. And it has 2 VCOs, 2 LFOs, 2 state variable filters, 3 noise generators, an envelope sequencer, mixer, and utilities like an active mult and a Boolean mixer, all in the module. So, I mean, it's going to do a heck of a lot. And I've always thought sometimes when you get these things, why are we in Eurorack here? This is the only question I've got.
Yeah, patch points. Yeah, it is an interesting one.
Yeah,
but it needs to be in a box a bit like an Erebus, doesn't it?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Like it needs to be a little desktop unit as well. I don't have a problem with them making it as a module, but I'm thinking, hey, you guys probably should make this as a little desktop thing. They're probably screaming at me right now saying, we do, and I haven't checked. But I don't know.
No,
But weirdly,
I agree,
even
Rance.
though it can be like you said, from a modular, if you stick it in a desktop, so it's virtually identical, same thing. Sometimes it has a bit more appeal to people who are not into modular, even though it's still modular.
Exactly like me. Yeah. I'd be more interested in it.
Which Moog, you know,
So a
Moog,
lot like Ants. You know,
Yeah.
remember the Ants? The Spanish company made Ants.
yeah.
If you guys ever saw that one.
The other thing that's good about this module too, by the way, is you can update the firmware on this. So if they have any, you know, additions that they want for the digital side of stuff, like the sequencer and the oscillators, and
It's got to be a desktop version, surely.
it has to be, doesn't it? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Let's have a quick look at their website while you guys are at it.
Daren, just
They
get
are
a power
just
bank
all-
and your park bench compatible.
No, they're all modular, these guys.
Exactly.
They're all modular, so I
Come
think
on, right.
yeah. So I think they're transitioning. If
You
if
like
they're
these guys, Daren, because they did this module a while back called the Laniakea, and it has that colourful knob on it. It's like similar to that
is
knob
the
that's
one? Is this?
Yeah, there's that one with that Euclidean sequencer they do. That's pretty mental as well.
yeah. If you're wondering, the
They do
analog
some cool
voice in
stuff.
this is a 3340, so it's an SH101
It's a digital one
style.
as well.
Yeah, the digital is what did they say about
See,
that?
I've not got a Christmas present yet. Let me just think.
Okay, so the digital is a wavetable synth with up to 16 different wavetables that you can upload your favorites to there as well. So yeah, I've noticed this seems to be a trend now with a lot of synthy stuff, right? Where you're seeing a mix of analog and digital, and the wavetable seems to be the weapon of choice with the digital, doesn't it?
Seems so, eh?
I don't know. Are you guys a massive fan of wavetable? I kind of get a bit bored with it.
It's one of those things that I
Depends
find
who's
it
doing
promises a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it promises a lot, but then you sit down with it and you're kind of a bit underwhelmed.
If it's Waldorf, I'm all over it. But you know,
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's-
the stage has got a Waldorf in it. So
I think it kind of
If only Arturia Pigments was actually a real hardware synth.
it's definitely one of those handy palettes to have. Like for example, in the Mini Freak, adding the wavetable it gave me a whole lot of new patches, and new ideas.
definitely.
But it's not something that you would die on the cross of, so to speak. It's not quite. I don't know. It doesn't quite excite me the same way. It's one of those things that had a lot of promise. So like when I thought, oh wow, I want a wavetable synth, and then when I tried, it was kind of like, yeah, it's it's kind of something that really rewards a lot of really nerdy kind of modulation and complexity. I think that's what I find with wavetables.
well,
synths.
if you try
So
to
you
Waldorf
really have to
microwave, it should blow your socks off.
Exactly, yeah. That's my point. Is that if you put the effort in, and if you've taken some factory patches or taken some patches written by someone who has put the work in, yeah, they sound amazing, and you're not going to get that sound quite any other way. But so yeah, it's one of those things where I think in the modular world, the wavetable synth doesn't make quite as much sense as it does in the sort of digital synth world or the software synth world because of the necessity for complexity.
The Magerit crew, I think you guys should make this into a desktop module and maybe reconfigure it with your patch points into a different way. I think that'll look really, really cool. I do like this. This is nothing wrong with this at all. And I think it sounds pretty cool as well. So hats off to you guys. Yeah, so go check that out. Don't forget, anything that I show in the show, down the bottom you've got a visual URL to the blog article on Ranzee.com, which is where Synth Geekery lives, and all the episodes and all the graphics, images, links to websites, links to videos, everything are in there, including this. Okay, next we're going to go across to this thing. Now, this is a bit of news that I stumbled across on my Facebook, really. And basically, I've got a friend who lives in Japan, and she works at the moment for these guys, Reon Driftbox. I actually didn't know it. And they went to the Japanese music, what was it called? Japanese music, not festival, Japanese music something or other. We might know what it is because he's into the Japanese stuff. Anyway, we were talking about the Reon Driftbox only just the other day because we were showing it on Price Watch. And I actually did not know that they've got a new product out. And this is called the Driftbox XL, and you can see it. Yeah, they're still going. Reon have still got a website.
There was a connection with.
Yep.
Yeah, there was a connection with Korg because Korg in the UK started distributing Reon when we were still a Korg dealer, and the model was gone from synths into shops. Basically, you would order. You wouldn't be able to sell the one and just take it home. You'd have to order it, and or Korg were going to send it to you. That was the model. It didn't happen, but they had all the sort of separate Synthfest that particular year. So, and I really liked them actually. I signed up. So I was all put them into the stock.
Well, this is their website, and there's no mention of the XL here on their website yet. So, but these are all the different products that they have released. There's quite a lot of stuff there. You know, little modules and pedals and rack systems. Some really, really interesting stuff that these guys are doing. So, going back to this, the Driftbox XL.
With the Driftbox, yeah.
Don't know really much about it other than what we could probably see. I could probably zoom in on that picture a bit for you. I do actually have another picture of the actual show booth that they had. Where are we? Can bring that in to the show. You guys can have a look at that. So this was actually the booth. So they actually still had some of their other Driftbox products there. And you can see they're definitely operating. This is only, I think, last week they showed this. So it'd be nice to see some more information. Look, if I was a gambling man and I was trying to guess what was going on with this, and if you look at their previous Driftbox products, they had obviously the little analog, sort of like a like a TB303 type sound, right? But then later on they brought out a vocoder, an analog little vocoder thing. I wouldn't be surprised if this was a marriage between the two. So if it had the vocoder and the Driftbox, they're gonna. And if you go to their website, there's a whole bunch of other products that they do called. There's one here called the Muton and the Sistron, and there's all these sort of. The Muton is kind of like a filter sort of VCO thing. The Sistron is kind of like a FM thing. So it might be a little bit of a mix with all these different products that they've got all in one. The other thing that kind of looked interesting too is this little bifold sort of interface.
Suitcase style.
Yeah.
Laptop style.
Yeah.
Of old age.
Really interesting.
I like that.
80s laptop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did reach out to them to see if they would send me some more information. Haven't heard anything back. So maybe now that we've mentioned it on the show, they might get off their butt and talk about it.
Yes.
Oh, it's Google Translate. Oh. Yeah, no, we won't do that.
But I like this. I think it's good.
Be nice to hear it.
A joystick there as well.
With the Korg stuff
that's
that's involved in it.
Yeah.
You know.
It looks like a step sequence.
And the layout on the top does look like 4 of their little boxes that they used to do. All put into one.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking. It's like all their stuff all merged into one.
Could be.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway. Good to hear that they're still around. That's what I thought.
Definitely.
What else we got? One last thing to show. And that is the FreqVault from Bard synthesizers. And this is a vacuum-based filter bank module, which is really interesting. And I wish these guys would put audio demos up, at least, of their products. But they don't. But what I can do is I can just tell you about it, and then hopefully within the next couple of weeks we can get some videos to show you. What you're looking at is 5 separately adjustable vacuum tube filters. So if you're wondering, like they're the Salon and Key type filters with soft saturation and resonance. So this is going to give you a different sort of flavor of filtering. But you are able to select between low pass modes on band 1 and band pass, and then on band 5 between band pass and high pass. There is common voltage controls between the cutoff frequencies, and there's a cutoff spread parameter, and what else is there? Common input and separate inputs for each filter, resonance control for separate resonance controls for each filter, which is like a ping sort of thing, which is what you want, right? Which would give you, hopefully that might give you some of that sort of formant feel, I guess. And then you've got 2 vacuum tube mixers at the end of the chain with a stereo output with hardwired panning. Because they're thermic, how would you say it? Thermic? They heat up, right? They're a thermal based device, right? It does require high temperatures for them to work.
It's going to be a hot module. You got to make sure you don't break any of those.
You mean I can't use it in the Antarctic? Damn.
So
does it look a bit deep?
So you need an external power supply for this.
Yes, I was going to say, did you notice the twisted pairs of cable coming out?
Yeah. It's an external power supply.
Drawing my eye.
Yep.
Yeah.
You
Looks
don't
like the
really
Metasonic stuff. You used to put a lot of.
Oh, actually, we do have sound. I have found sound.
You do?
Yes.
Found sound.
I have found some sound.
No plug intended.
No, we won't give them a plug. No, well, they've never given me a plug. Why should we start giving them plugs? Bought shit from them as well.
I bought a shitload from them.
Yeah. You guys don't need to see what's happening. This is just the sound.
It does sound very 1950s, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, doesn't it?
It does have that old radio workshop type feel.
Very, very.
Where's the ping? Here we go. Grunge is up, doesn't it?
Certainly sounds like it looks.
All right, Dudley. I've never been a massive fan of
I was worried about
that.
the valves.
That sound. Yeah. I'm not a massive fan of giant vacuum tubes, to be honest.
No,
I don't want the hassle in the studio.
they're very thin.
Our studio's already warm as it is, living in this city. It'd be good for you guys living in the northern part of England, that's for sure. Keep your studio nice and warm.
Toasty warm.
Yeah, you guys would love it.
That's why I bought a valve preamp for my turntable just to warm the room up.
Fair enough.
I mean, to be fair, I was very, very concerned about the fact there's 6 tubes there. 6 technology valves. They're still very fragile.
I reckon it's definitely up other people's alleys, but it's not up mine. Sorry, it's not for me. Price.
And let's face it, those sounds, you
it's
can
a-
get those sounds from other
it
ways without.
is not cheap. 720 euros for this sucker. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, you've got to have a hankering for this kind of thing.
And then once you start replacing valves,
I would
Which
say,
are
what
also
about a
not cheap.
replacement? Some of these are
Certainly
getting
not
more rare, right? So
Depends whether they're
You're not gonna
new
take it on
or
the
stock
Memo,
or...
I mean, no, you're not. Absolutely not. No.
like the Metasonics ones, he used like surplus parts that are just he could just find. So I don't know how much those had longevity because some of those were rare tubes.
It's like 50p
Yeah,
a meter.
right.
So.
So, I mean, the tubes that I bought for my preamp, I'm expecting to last about 5 years. They're cheap Chinese tubes, to some extent. You know.
Yep.
So there is there's a redundancy there.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it for products.
Can I just say something about? Yeah, can I just say something about the L6? You know, I bought the L6, the Zoom L6,
Oh, you got it already?
and I was looking in the manual. It came. I used it in the EMOM, which was great, except I only forgot to record half of it. Actually, what's interesting for the compression button is really, really good. You can't adjust anything on the compression. And I wouldn't use it for recording, and it doesn't get recorded. But actually, it was really, really good at the EMOM to just push the compression button, and it sounded so much sort of, it gave it a real boost. What was really interesting was, looking in the manual, I suddenly noticed that there is a eurorack or a bracket that you can buy for it. So I don't know whether they're here in the UK yet, but there is fitting for a eurorack case, so you could use that mixer in your eurorack if you wanted to, which I thought was quite cool. I thought I'd tell you guys that are into your eurorack stuff.
Yeah, thanks.
And it's great. It's well built. I absolutely love it.
How much does it set back?
Nice.
I paid. You can get them in the UK for about $280. I paid $290 from Gear for Music. Gear for Music. The guys at Gear for Music are fine. I've got mates who work there. Mainly because they would ship it overnight, and I thought it'd be really good to have it and then bring it up here. Really.
Yeah.
I've got stuff from
I've
got stuff from Gear for Music literally in 3 days from the UK.
They're normally. Had I done the normal, I think I paid £7 to have it shipped to make sure. But it could well have come in 2 days. But I wanted to make sure, and it literally ordered it on the Sunday, and it was here on the Monday, and I came here on the Tuesday.
Yeah, something went. Great, really. Something changed in the UK. I don't know what it was, but I can't remember what year it is. Was it last year or the year before? But there was a period where I was buying things from the UK and I was getting it here within a few days. I was really happy. It was, as long as it wasn't $1,000 or more Australian, I didn't have to pay GST or import tax on it. But then all of a sudden, all the postage went up like insane. Like it was like about quadrupled, maybe even 10 times the price just to post something from the UK to here. And I know this is not Brexit related because Brexit happened way earlier.
It's not.
It was something else. I don't know what it was.
Our postage price.
No, it was after COVID.
Is here.
After COVID,
Not only. Things like letters have gone up. The Royal Mail, which you send a letter, the first class post has gone up by quite a bit, hasn't it, Daren? But I'm finding that we're back using Every because Yodel are a problem. For all of no matter which courier service I use, the prices are really, really high. They've all gone up. I think it's just our economy. To be fair, it must be.
Right.
The cost of petrol and everything else has gone up. So that's
the old inflation. Yeah. All right. Well, guys, if you're liking the show, like the stream, click like. Do that. And if you don't, what are you doing here? Right, we should keep going. We've got another segment to go.
Yeah.
We have got this one. Yes. Scammers are not here this week, I'm afraid. Sorry. It's just more interesting stuff that I've found. This one here, I don't know if you guys know much about the XV5080, but this was kind of like the big battleship of the JV series that came out from Roland with those voice cards. If you now have Roland Cloud, you can get yourself this virtually over Roland Cloud. So there's probably not much need for these physically anymore because the whole thing's digital anyway. I mean, unless you're like really loving the digital to analog converters in the back. Other than that, you're pretty much going to get exactly the same sound on your DAW. However, I thought $1,250 was pretty good considering how much is in this. There are 128 voice synth module, but this particular one, it's actually live on eBay right now, and it's got 8 cards with it. So that's why I thought someone may actually want this. Not me, because I don't have any money to spare, but Retro Gear Shop are pretty well known for doing pretty good stuff. It looks like it's in pretty good nick too. Yeah, good old SCSI interface. Wow, hey, with the R bus. So in terms of the cards, let's go back to the auction. It does tell us down here.
Top and put them in there.
You can sell out the cards you don't like and make some money back too.
Yeah, but have a look at these cards here, right? If you were to price these cards up, I'll just
individually
do the old zoom in for you guys so you can see it a bit better.
Zoom and enhance.
The vintage synthesizer one is hard to get.
I think I paid $300 for that.
I've got the I've got the techno on the bass and drums.
Yeah, and some of these aren't as as common as you think. Like the keyboards of the 60s and 70s, I haven't seen that one for a while. So
the World Collection's cool too.
So if you were to add all those up individually, someone could do it while we're sitting there and chat and work out how much these JV cards are individually, right? And you could work out, geez, I'm actually getting a pretty good deal here, plus the box itself. So
it's like the EMU ROMs; they've all gone up.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good deal, for sure. Next one I came across was this, and I obviously just wanted to show it because it is a VCS3, but this one is the Mark II.
Yes, please.
The Mark II, live on Reverb. The price is a bit nasty, $27,000 Australian, half that for pounds. This one's in Rotterdam, in the Netherlands, if you want to buy it. When someone is selling something Rigididge and you know that it's actually a real proper listing, you can tell because there's 100 photos on their listing, right? When there's one photo and it's like $27,000, I'm like,
scam,
But this guy's got lots and lots and lots of photos. Don't forget, this is a Mark II, so it does feature a couple of extra bits and pieces over the Mark I.
Where's his pins? Where's the pins? Oh, there's the pins. Right.
You can see down here, that's where it indicates that it's a Mark II.
Is that connected for the keyboard, or what is that connector down there?
Good question.
I think it's for the keyboard.
Keyboard, right? Yeah.
It's for the keyboard. Because I played them at York University. I've got 2.
It even comes with the user manual. Mark I user manual. It's the wrong user manual.
I'll stick with the iPad app. It's very nice.
Yeah, no, I've got the iPad app. It's great, yeah.
This has got all the cables and all the pins.
Yeah. I didn't know the pins were that long.
A man after my own heart.
Wow, this has got a lot of interesting things with it.
Let's say thank you to this person for putting all these great pictures up.
Absolutely. What did he say? There was some information in here that I thought was interesting.
I always love that VU meter on the front there. It looks like it's just kind of bolted on, like it's homemade.
Looks like a science
okay.
experimenting with
That's
with electronics.
That's what I wanted
Crystal radio set.
Guys, this is what I wanted to point out to you. This was built in 2017, which I'm pretty sure you guys have all worked it out because it's written there. But the Mark II is the ones that you can order now currently. They still make them.
Yeah,
Robin still makes them, and they're pretty expensive.
Several years waiting list.
Yeah, so if you
Yeah.
a lot of information.
You got to wonder what their actual cost is, though. What is their manufacturing cost at this point?
It's just paying his mortgage, I guess. It's very obvious.
But you're paying for the legend. You're paying for the. I mean, it's way past R&D cost, right? So.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think it's like if you bought a massive, expensive, grand piano that goes in your, entryway of your house, and you spent lots of money on that, you'd never hardly play it.
But I talked to a guy who used to work on the SynthAs, right? The little suitcase guys, and they said it's inside is kind of a mess. They're not the best quality parts, yet they fetch this huge price. So it's kind of weird. I think you're just paying for the legend at this point, I think, more than anything else.
Yeah.
With the SynthAA, because the SynthAA is actually quite breakable, isn't it? That's why there's not that many around.
But the parts are similar,
I'm sure
inside both
this
things.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
But
one.
quite nice inside in terms of its quality controls. Must be a lot better than it used to be back in the day.
All right.
Ken will know.
Are you guys ready for another cool one? This one will really, really rock your boat. Here we go. The Klavis D-Drum 2. This is the Model 4. It's got the expansion cartridges, as you can see, already in it. So it's got the 5 expansion cartridges. And it's on Reverb. This one's in California. There's not much information on it. And only 2
they made
photos.
that. I only saw the Nordrum series.
Yeah.
Only 2
Must have been
photos.
the predecessor.
These kind of products always really intrigue me because you look at the technology that they're using of the day, and okay, this is cartridge technology. It's definitely digital. It says it on there as well, but obviously in those days they didn't have the means that we have these days of getting samples into a drum machine.
That's right.
So they came up with this.
Yeah, this was
Although
sort of
Casio
like
had sampling
period.
on the old RZ machine, so I mean they could do it.
This is kind of Klavis' heritage in the drum area. This is where they were developing the technology that would
RZ's
go
made
on
in the
to.
80s. They had sampling on there.
Apparently they're pretty good. Apparently a lot of people raved about them. So yeah, I just can't remember, like specifically. Like if you think of drum machines of that era, I can't remember an artist saying this artist used that drum machine. Whereas the DMX, those sort of things were Lindrum and those things.
In my circles, neither, as well in the drum world. So it's interesting. It's the ones later that I know more about. And
because it's rack mounted, you probably don't see it a lot. I mean, they might have a different. I doubt, but I think it's probably more a recording studio type setup thing.
Item.
Okay, and one last one, which I thought more just interesting, other than anything else. But I don't know. You guys might know a bit about this. This is the Seal OR400 Orchestra, and according to the listing, it's on eBay. It's rare. Apparently it's an analog string / piano / brass / wind synth organ. I don't think I've ever seen one of these before. I know I've seen
pictures of them.
I've seen Seal stuff before, but I have not seen this particular one before. And it is on eBay. Yes, it is, people. So it looks like it's got a bit of analogy sort of controls, where you've got some LFO, filter, ADSR. Yeah.
VCF.
Yep.
Mixer.
Seems like they all have the same look. It's that gray with the blue writing.
It's grubby looking, this one.
Yeah, it's got a bit of bit of a hard life in the past.
Okay, so this is like one of those mix all the instruments in. Oh, and it's got the percussion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got lost its end caps, hasn't it, though?
With the little monkey on the end.
Yeah, the little
dancing
white bits. But those sliders look like actually the pot style, like in the old mixing desks. There's actually a pot on a very long lever.
What version of hepatitis are we going to catch from this particular synth?
Yes, seriously.
That is grubby.
Yeah, don't put a black light on it.
There's far too much DNA on that keyboard.
Yeah.
That first picture looks like it's a stock picture, and all the rest look real. Because it's.
If you're wondering, they're Italian, the company. This is an 80s made thing, so yeah. I don't know who used it.
I've never seen a seal in
B52s.
person anywhere, actually.
B52s, according to this eBay listing.
Rock Lobster.
I don't think it was in Rock Lobster. Doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
You have to knock the head with the coconut. Dook, 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 dook.
Yeah.
Did you up? Speaking of the Roland XV5080, look what I've got running on my... And if you're wondering how many cartridges I've got in mine, I've got them all.
Well, of course you do. It's the wrong cloud.
Yeah. Saturday Sonority time, guys. That's what it is.
Did that come with all the expansions, or you had to pay extra for the expansions?
I think you always get it.
No, you just get it, mate. It's all there.
You just get it, right?
It's just, the standard.
I don't use my cloud that much, obviously, so it's just...
Yeah.
What
should we do in Saturday Sonority? I think a bit of a play today. I think like last week we played around with the spring reverb, and it was kind of cool fun, wasn't it? I don't know, it was cool fun for me anyway. You guys probably weren't having as much fun as I was.
Oh, that's all.
I think Kent had the two. He doesn't like spring reverbs. So.
I could turn something on in here. Play with it.
This is not going to take long to show you what I've just been... today I was just mucking around with the idea of... when you've got sort of three different sounds, but you want to manipulate them in three different ways, but you only want to use one hand on the keyboard. And I kind of feel like some people may not know how to do this. You guys that are here, I know you guys will know how to do this, right? So this is not... or maybe you don't, I don't know. But I'm pretty sure you all do. And I'm pretty sure most of the people in the chat room know how to do this. But a DAW can do some cool things by... using the same or a MIDI input. So I've just got here the Arturia Keystep 37 in front of me, and I've got the GeForce Virtual String Machine running the Eminence. This is actually a sample of the Eminence. Alright, then I've decided that I don't want... You probably would have noticed when I started playing there was a bass sound and it disappeared. So what I don't want to have is the lower notes just playing the string machine. I want it to trigger the bass instrument, which is the Cobalt expander from Behringer sitting in front of me. So what I've done is I've created an instrument rack in Ableton. Now there's different DAWs will do this differently, but this is just for those people who have got Ableton Live. And I've created an instrument rack. And then what you do is you can just actually see how there's a little slider here. You can literally just slide where it's going to react to the inputs or notes of the keyboard. So I've just said, right, I want it from there down, but I don't want anything up there. And then I've just set the external instrument up. Cobalt expander coming in on audio input 31, and then you've got the bass notes coming in. So if we turn off the string machine, you'll just hear the cobalt. Right? So that's easy sort of stuff. Most people can probably do that, right? But then what I wanted to do is something kind of a little bit more funky, and that is I wanted the XV5080, to play a little bit of a harp sound, right? And at the same time, I wanted the harp sound to be sequenced, like not really sequenced as in like a step sequencer, but more like a sort of arpeggiator type sequence, or a pattern generator is probably the better way to do it. So I'm going to use the Blue Arp to do that. If you guys haven't got this is a free VST that you can download, and Oleg's the guy that makes this. He lives in Russia. We know him as Grey Wolf, so you can get that for free. And I've just got one of his little riff up 4 beats, and you can see K1, K2, K3, K4, K2, K3, K4, K1, K3. It sort of just randomly goes up and down octaves. And so then what you end up doing is you're creating this little pattern. And I thought I'll just trigger an old-fashioned harp sound. And it won't do it unless I enable that. And then we should get the sound now. So then you bring it all together. And you can do things with one hand. You can just go like this. Or you can take your hand off the keyboard and just go. And you're not doing anything really remarkable. You're just using the features of what your DAW can do. And then once you've done all that, that becomes your sound, right? That's just one sound that you want to achieve. Do you guys do things like that? Muck around with sort of like multiple configurations to sort of, you know, that was just one hand on the keyboard just going do, and it's making all that noise.
Yeah, I've done it. I don't do that that often, but I have done it. Yeah, not in Ableton. Well, I haven't got Ableton now, but it's easier to do in Ableton than some other DAWs. I know that.
I feel it's getting easier.
I've not done it in Logic.
Ableton.
Yeah.
I would have to say,
hardware, but not with Ableton.
If you had Ableton Live 8, it wouldn't be as easy as Ableton Live 11. I've got 11.
No,
I've got 12.
and I never did. I mean, I had 9. 9 was the last full version that I had.
Yeah. 9's okay.
I still remember doing it with that, actually. Yeah, 9 was okay.
You probably could do it with
32-bit, if I remember.
Yeah. You probably could do it with
9. It was on a different computer.
Yeah.
I
mean, traditionally, Ableton was probably not the best for MIDI implementation. It was never really that strong. It definitely is now, though.
You can definitely do it with Reaper, but you need to get in under the hood to some extent, you know. And I have done it quite a long time ago, but I have done it in Reaper.
Yeah, I think you could do that pretty well and pretty easily in Cakewalk. Just use the MIDI effects to do the filtering. And you can set up 3 different VSTs with different all monitoring on the same channel. Guess it's similar effect. Yeah, I've never been into that stuff mainly because I'm not such a great keyboard player. So I find that those kind of configurations are much more suited to people who can actually play piano, such had some training. Because
true.
It's a lot more intuitive. Whereas I'm very much on sort of gravitate towards the sort of old school layering approach, which I guess is more sort of the techno area.
Yeah, I mean,
I suppose,
you don't have to be a great piano player.
Layering effect, basically.
No.
Yeah.
That's not to say I haven't. It's not to say I haven't pressed a key on something like the wave state, which has like 4 layers wave sequence, and then gone, "Ooh, that's given me an idea. Oh, I sound great." So yeah, no, I'm not saying never, but yeah, it's not something I've done a lot in the past. But yeah,
I mean, that's the other thing you do with your Eurorack modular system. Like, depending on how big your Euroracks is, you can trigger a whole bunch of
stack,
sequences and stuff. And
exactly.
It's literally just pressing a button.
You're right, and I'm hearing that a lot more lately.
Yeah.
And I find that a lot more engaging. With all these things being generated from a simple sequence being generated into multiple different channels, all from the same sort of basic root notes, but lots of variations, and it's still staying in key.
Yeah,
quite clever. I think we're moving in that direction.
I like things to evolve, though. I don't want. I'm kind of getting sick of repetition. So, if I was to do something sequency, it has to evolve. It has to. It either has to go up and down octaves, or it has to drop notes, or it has to change a chord progression, or do you know what I mean? It can't just stay with the same patterns and then loop, because it just really starts to annoy me after a while.
It's funny it annoys me as well. I went to a concert last Saturday, electronic concert by a band, and the headline, there was some really interesting, the support acts were better to some extent, but the repetitive beats of the headliner for 40 minutes became ridiculously boring. So much so that I said to Jane, "Are you enjoying this?" She went, "No." I said, "Well, come on, let's go, because we'd had enough." I mean, they played well enough, the visuals were great, but repetitive, with absolute almost no variation,
Yeah, that's
we didn't even have the classic drop.
Yeah,
get tired of the boom tish constantly.
Well, even that you go to those things, Ian, don't you? And you go, "Mate, just change the chord. Like, you've been on that chord for the whole song. Can't you change the chord?"
He really likes that chord.
Yeah, he really likes that chord. Does he know any other chord?
Yeah.
He's worked so hard on that bass line. He's going to let you hear it for a long time, because he worked really hard on that bass line. No, I
the opposite too, where they go all over the place too much, and then it's hard to listen to as well. So,
I'm saying make it board pretty quickly. If there isn't some kind of variation, I want to hear. Even at the very least, if you do a counter bass line to the existing chord, it's so much more interesting than continuing that.
And I mean, these guys, they were about my age, but they were clearly stuck in 1990. They hadn't progressed since the early 90s.
I don't think it's too. I don't think it's too hard though to learn, like, just to learn a little bit about root notes. It's not a massive ask to ask. Okay, you're into music, so learn a little bit about root notes.
Well, the other thing is, because I was having a conversation with Jason, who uses Cubase, because the new Cubase, didn't it? And he was saying that if you don't know chords, what the actual chords called. And I know that Logic does this really well as well, and I'm sure they do. Actually, Reaper doesn't do it that well, but there's probably a plugin. Melody, chord, and it will tell you exactly what the chord, where the root note is, and that's almost like a teaching aid to some extent. But so just put your hands on the keyboard and think, "Oh, that's an interesting sounding chord. What's it called?" Go working it out yourself. Your DAW will tell you.
Well, even if you want to use a lot of the same chords, learn about some inversions, and you can use the same chords technically, right?
Yep.
It's just inversions.
I always use second or third inversions. Really.
And even if you're not, like, even if that's a bit foreign to you, be a bit brave. Take some risks. It's. I think sometimes their performers are too afraid to make a mistake or have a bum note, that they will not even take the risk to see if a note works.
I love bum notes.
Well, that's my point. Is that
on Wednesday was.
I'd much rather listen to EMOMs where they got a bum note on the way to something good. That's fine. That's like That it should
Or
be
even-
celebrated.
Well, it's
not-
jazz.
even use them as
It's bum noise.
disruptors.
It's just jazz. Isn't
yeah,
it?
exactly. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's live when you
I
I
hear
have
have
been
Andy
known
says,
to play
yeah.
a bum noise play it again, so it makes it sound like it's meant to be there.
Yeah.
You know?
But there is that kind
yeah.
of, yeah. I just wonder if that's part of the psychology sometimes of why. I mean, I know some people just really get into that. They lock in their minds to that sound and that repetition, and they just really enjoy
Well,
it.
this bit still works anyway.
There we go. It came through.
Kenty. Nice one, Kent. Cheers, mate.
Did you guys see the pop up? That was actually really cool.
I did. I saw
No.
the pop-up and I heard it.
I didn't see
We
it.
heard it.
You heard Brian.
I think
How you going,
Oh,
Brian?
no, sorry. I saw it in the
Yeah,
chat.
I
I
did.
didn't see anything on
I
the
heard
screen,
Brian.
though.
Thanks, Kent. And the good thing about it now, I don't even have to like catch it and show it because it
Yeah.
shows automatically, which is why I've gone to Streamlabs. It's a much better system, and I think it rewards people that do things like what Kent's done, because they get to like when he posts the super chat, that's when he feels like that people should see that I'm showing some love. This is what I want to say, and it should disrupt the show and give him his his moment. I think that's what most people want. I like that. I think it's cool. I've got the little the bell sound because I want it to alert us. I can change it, can change it to.
Well, if you go on those mega shows, they have to do super chats at the end because they get way too many. So they have to save them and do thank yous at the end of the show.
Yeah. Oh, like have you ever on some of those really big streams? You've seen the chat; it just scrolls so fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't keep up with it.
No one could possibly keep up with it.
When I first well, not when I first started, when chat started coming in on YouTube, I was always seeing the streams that were like that and not getting half the conversation because it was on top. It wasn't on. It was on top chat instead of all chat. And everyone on the stream used to say, "Oh, you got to set it to all chat so you can see everyone's messages."
Yeah.
And one of the things about all of our lovely little synth shows is that there's fortunately not enough people to actually cause the top chat to be any different from the all chat. I just find it so refreshing. It's like, I don't have to worry about changing the setting because it defaults to the wrong one anyway.
Top chat to live chat.
It
There's
always
another one.
does.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's what
There's
I
another
meant.
one called fan funding.
Oh,
Well, the same as when you subscribe
What
to
is
somebody,
that?
it defaults to the personal setting, not the all. And then you miss a lot of their announcements.
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I go to this, it should be the latest. Yeah, it refreshes. So I've got it automatically so that it does a browser refresh. And yeah. But yeah,
That works good.
I don't know what your issues are, buddy, with your thing. It's nothing to do with anything we're doing. It's something obviously to do with your laptop and YouTube. But does it do it for ProSynth Network, or you don't really use it in ProSynth Network because you're too busy running the show? So I don't know.
It's supposed to be a browser version, right? This bug is a browser version.
I find the chat to chat in on an iPad in YouTube. I actually can't handle it. It's too hard because one thing you
What
can't
sucks is
do.
you
No,
can't
I
autofill.
mean,
You
what
can't
I'm-
you
no,
can't fill
I
out someone's
see.
name. Yeah.
I mean, I'm
All right.
on my phone to interact with the chat. You know, I can't do it on the iPad. It's okay on the laptop. I can, or in the studio. I can, because I have a separate browser window set up anyway. And you've got more screens, but no, it doesn't work here.
I would just update your browser or update your computer. It's probably just out of date.
That's why I've told it on mobile. Sorry, no shout outs. I can't type everyone's thing individually. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on
No,
iPad.
and actually
doing
on
the
my
chat.
phone I've not got.
Yeah. You get it slightly wrong and one letter wrong or space where there isn't a space or an underscore.
It just takes a long time too to type all that shit.
It takes a
out,
long
so
time.
it's just-
Totally.
I mean, the other day I
I'm a
was
slow typer.
having a sleepless night, so I jumped onto ProSynth Network, which I don't normally do because it's like 2 a.m, 3 a.m, and I was on my iPad, and I was getting frustrated because like people were saying hi to me, and I'm like, I can't highlight their name. And I'm going to sit there and manually type their name.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I can't highlight it on here.
Oh, that's horrible.
Links won't
It's
work
funny
because
saying
you're not a
about Sleepless
moderator,
Night last
Kent.
night. Woke up.
Links will only work if you're a moderator. But on your own show, it should work. Apparently, there is a chat bug going on. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
I heard it was a browser thing. I haven't seen it personally, but I've heard a lot about it.
Well, it's Twitch. Go to Twitch. The Twitch chat's working. I think I've got it open here. Where is it? Twitch. There's 3 people in Twitch. Hey.
Yeah.
I'll just say hey in Twitch.
Welcome.
Welcome,
So popular.
Twitchers.
I'm so popular. It reminds me of that first stream that I ever did. You guys remember when I showed you the first stream?
Yes.
It
Well,
took-
we're
where it
live.
took-
Oh, yeah.
It took hours before someone came and watched. Me sitting with all my friends. Yeah. Oh, one thing I've managed to get back out is I've got the Xbox controller back out, guys. Right? Which way? That way. And the reason why I've got the Xbox controller back out is because
You've given up music and you're playing games.
I can now do this. With the Xbox
Ah,
controller, baby.
Pan tilt
Ah, good one.
How cool's that?
That's cool.
That
Is that a
much
special
Yeah, no,
converter for that?
great,
Or it plugs
actually.
right into your camera?
No, that's built into vMix, and it literally
It's vMix thing. Okay.
vMix is the video switching software I used to stream with.
Cool.
Yeah. So there's
I thought you were
literally
gonna do something with the modular, because I have the nunchuck, the Wii nunchuck module for modular, and I can use all little controls to control the module.
That worked with the old,
It's
really
got
cool.
you
It's by
could actually probably use any type of MIDI controller to do that. So if you found a MIDI controller that had a little sort of XY joystick on it that sent out MIDI CC, you could probably use that as well. But I mean,
I could use the wave state.
this thing's already configured, and you know they're so cheap to buy off Amazon. This thing's what $15, you know, off Amazon. Little MSI Xbox controller plugs into USB port. Away you go.
Cool.
But it's handy for me because like basically if I now want to just go straight, I'll just put a little me in the top right hand corner so you can see what I'm doing. If I want to just move it around, I can zoom in and out with that, and I can move it left to right with that. So I'm using that one there's left to right, right, and that one there's zooming in and out.
Can you store presets on the buttons?
I could, but I don't need to because I can do that in the
vMix.
in the vMix. I could set scenes, so I've already got presets on them now. So, like for example, if I go
One wide shot or something. Yeah.
if I go to
Jump to
there,
wide. That one. Yeah.
there, so these are all presets.
Yeah. I had fun making presets at my former job a long time ago with the Tandberg video system. I made little custom meeting presets for everybody.
Yeah.
So when they want to talk privately, it goes to the company logo on the wall.
Nice.
And then, so.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, I think we've probably done the show.
I've got one last thing I'd like to
Yeah.
get an opinion on. I'll just bring up a picture. Black knobs for the GP82. I've done some experiments with black knobs, making black knobs for the GP82 because they were requested. Although I have some concerns, and it'll be interesting to see if you guys see the same issue. So there's your black knob looking at it straight on, and here's looking at it on a slight angle. Now, are you guys finding it difficult to tell what the knob is set to?
No,
Yeah.
You're not having a problem.
Well, I am. But,
I'm not, because the little white dots there.
Yeah, and what is the dot on, do you think, say, for example, on the second one
I think
down, Rants?
I think it's on
From
two.
two.
Dunno.
I don't even look at
Actually,
mine. I
on.
just do it by feel anyway. So I
It's
don't.
on one.
Okay.
On one.
But I've got the same. I'd have the same problem with the orange one, wouldn't I?
Oh
no,
well,
the
the
orange
orange
one's got
one is
a
a
little-
contrasting.
The only way
It's
you
got
can
a
get around that
contrasting.
is to have.
Yeah, so it has a contrasting color on the pointer down here where
Got
the
it.
control.
I'm just looking
where
at
the
it
actual
now.
control panels. Yeah, so you see, it's a subconscious thing. You wouldn't really notice it, but of course, I have to notice these things.
So the black
So-
does have that, but you can't see it because it's black on black. I get what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right. But what if you
Yes,
just coloured
yeah.
it? What if you just put a little white thing on it?
I will try that next, but the problem is colour doesn't tend to stay on the plastic if it's exposed, if it's proud. That's why the little dot is recessed inside the knob, so it can't be wiped off. So ideally it would, that's why a proper injection mould has that actual paint
Or you could have a little
of the
LED.
in the knobs.
No,
Wow.
a little 8-segment display showing what number you're on.
Yes,
Ooh,
yes.
wouldn't
It should
that
have
be
an
sexy?
LED ring, really, shouldn't I, Rance?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, definitely a ring. Just like the Zoom L6. Love the ring.
Yes. Well, anyway, I have. I'm thinking I'm not going to put these up as an option until I've resolved that issue because I just.
Well, that
think it's
definitely
gonna
looks
be-
like 2.
They do look. They do.
That
look
looks like
lovely.
2. And then you...
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely a problem. If that looks like 2, but it's
Yeah.
1.
That's exactly. That's why I don't really want to go for this as they are. I'd like to explore something better than that. Anyway, I tried it.
I just sat
so
it and
it's
count
just
the
for this
ratchets
next-
because I'm usually at an angle I can't see the number properly anyway because the numbers are close.
They're
together,
rotary encoders,
so-
aren't they?
They're
Yeah,
actually
you just count the number.
rotary.
Count the ratchet.
They're
Rotary
actually rotary
switches.
switches. Yeah.
Right.
They're binary encoded. Because the pointer, the orange pointer on the original, is right next to the panel, so it should from
You
any
can
angle
see it,
you should
yeah.
still be
Yeah.
should still be able to see where the triangle's pointing. It is small though, so I appreciate that not everyone has their glasses or their contact lenses on.
I think a different colour knob, personally, that would be my choice.
That's the thing, yeah. So that's what I think. I think, yes, I would do a black knob, but it doesn't have contrasting colours, which doesn't really work with the current panels. That's what I want to say now.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to
Yeah,
do...
it was worth a try, though.
If you're going to do that... See, the other thing you could do with that, right, because they're both 16-position knobs, right? Both of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things you could do, I've always thought with the GP82, is you could have one knob, right? And you could have a little LED that shows what setting you're on.
Oh, cool. So you have like 2 rings, an inner ring and an outer ring, and the inner ring would be one setting, and that's in one colour, and the outer ring would be a different colour, which is defining the other setting.
Well, you could...
Is that kind of what you...
If it's a rotary encoder, you could push it in, right?
Yeah.
And then that
Change
would
the
toggle
colour.
between the two different modes.
Yeah, that's what the div skip does. The module
Oh, okay.
from
I mean,
div
I was thinking about something else personally just then. It was nothing to do with eurorack. It was just something that I've got that's computer related. But that you press in on the encoder, it changes what you see on the display, and then you turn it, and it gives you visual feedback as you're turning it. In your case, it's just a number, so it's pretty simple logic to do that. That looked pretty cool as a GP82 Mark II.
Yes, well, I was going to call it the GP82 Max.
Yeah, could do that. Yeah,
I was also going to do a new version, a super duper high powered version of the TreXi, and I was going to call it TreXi Deluxe and other Bond girls.
I would call it
Monopenny.
GP82 electric.
Just call it Moneypenny.
Exactly, yeah. As in, you make the money for me. Nah.
What was that?
Yeah.
What was the more recent one, with Daniel Craig? Is it Vespa? What was her name? The Bond girl. Vespa?
the girl.
Recent ones.
Vespa's one, I think. Yeah.
I think it's Vespa, isn't it?
Yeah, it means
She's
wasp.
quite a.
Vespa's
She's
in
quite
the
a.
yeah,
In the first one, when they
she's
went
in the first. Yeah.
and she
And
got
that
killed.
character-
She got killed
Nice
in Venice, didn't she? I think it was in Venice where she got killed.
Yeah.
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 The inside those.
Didn't he marry her? Did he marry that?
He married her. Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
remember now.
Her Vespa.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
I love
married
Vespa.
her. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's
Quantum.
what happens in the very, very last one, isn't it? It sort of goes. He goes to visit. It sort of. The
700
story
He
ends
goes
with
to
him.
the grave. Yeah.
If you don't, depends whether you like the ending or not, because he sort of kills the character off.
Yeah. That's a spoiler if you've not seen it, Darren. But no,
Well, I said
I
kills
didn't
the
like.
character off, I
I
didn't say which
didn't like the
character.
ending. I really didn't.
I was
like
trying
the
to think
ending.
of her name. She was on something else
Yeah,
I
yeah.
watched.
Well, we know it.
If you haven't seen it by now, then it's.
What was her name? What was her name? Eva Green. Eva Green is the lady's name that played Vespa.
Oh yeah, it was Eva Green of
Yeah.
300 fame and other movies.
Yeah, and there was definitely a show that I watched recently, and I can't remember what it was. I mean, you have to go through what Eva Green's done to find out what it was, and I can't be bothered. But
DB.
I just got that real James Bond vibe when I was watching her, because she kind of had a very similar sort of role in that particular. She does that role well.
She does.
Yeah,
There was some sort of 18th century sort of ghost thing that was I think on Netflix a few years back. That she was in that all the time. That was really good.
Yeah, it was
I
a
don't know what
horror
it's
thing
called
she
now,
did. I
but-
forgot the name of it.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. I watched the whole series. I enjoyed it. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what's at the moment. I'm kind of not watching anything. I've decided that I'm just taking a break from becoming a couch potato and wasting my life looking at something that I probably should just be more productive in life.
I watched the second series of Devil's Hour. If anyone's ever seen that
Nope.
on Amazon, you've not seen it. Brilliant.
No,
don't
Peter
have-
Capaldi in it.
Don't have Amazon.
The only thing I've
I'm not a
watched,
fan of Peter
Darren,
Capaldi.
the only thing I've watched on like streaming in the last 2 weeks is Liverpool playing whoever they've played, because my son makes me sit and watch it with him, my youngest son.
Yes, I was going to mention family members as controlling somewhat what you watch
Yeah,
by proxy.
I
You
don't
need a
mind.
park bench synth so you can play
Well,
while you're watching.
yeah.
You can sit there on the couch and play.
Yeah.
You know?
But you usually get
Well,
people
we-
saying,
we've been-
"Why are you on your phone? You're always on your phone."
We've been
I mean,
watching
it's-
all 6 series of, the 7 series of The West Wing again, the third time. And actually, considering it's 20 years ago from a political drama, it's so very relevant. Even we have solved none of the issues that were coming up in West Wing in those, 20 years ago. The issues with Israel and and everything else.
China.
A whole new
Middle
set of
East.
issues now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all of that.
China.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, Andy.
And we
I
got-
wasn't
China.
going to mention
can
that
I-
then, Andy, for you.
I just brought it up real quick.
Apologise
That's
to
it.
you and your.
Enough said.
Yeah, I know, but I want to apologise to you. We feel
The shit
for you
hasn't hit the
and
fan
our-
yet, but
and
it
the rest
will.
of our
Yeah, yeah.
friends in America.
This
No, but he will.
Yeah.
Tom
There's plenty of room
Hanks
over
is
here.
he's left the country apparently.
Well,
Yeah.
Brad Holland is leaving the country. Isla Instruments, he's leaving.
Yeah,
interesting.
well,
Look,
Well,
Yep.
4 years.
I
4
hear
years,
I
won't
hear
be going
people
back to
say
America.
stuff like that. Or I saw his comment
Yeah.
on his Facebook, and the word hysterical just came to mind. Sorry,
Yes.
but I mean, it's just that sort of reaction is just
It's
hysterical.
reactionary, but it is going to get pretty nasty. So
Yeah, it is. I mean, in fact,
because
we
he's
said
not
we
a
weren't gonna go
citizen,
back to
they could kick him out anyway, right? That's the problem.
Well,
see?
Trump was last time, and we did. And
David's like
So
David
I'll-
in chat. I'll just pop it up so you guys can see.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, David. Oh.
Hang on, what? Not that one. Come on, refresh.
I missed it.
Refresh.
See, don't leave me here alone.
There it is.
Yeah, totally be alone. We're not. Yeah.
That's why I don't use this thing as much, because I just hate how slow it is to
You can
refresh.
come in. We won't. Before you arrived, Andy, we all said you can either come to Australia or you can come to England, and we're quite happy to accept any of our friends. And we'll put you in somewhere.
I have too much stuff to move. If I had to move, it'd be a nightmare.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Plus, I have to convert all my power shit, right?
I don't
'Cause you
even
guys have
like
different
moving.
power systems.
I don't like moving. It's not
No,
enjoyable.
I don't like moving. I hate moving.
Well, you've just done it, Ian.
Time.
Exactly. It was horrendous. And although we have said that we like the house, we like where we are, but we don't think this is our final house. We think we'll move again in Frome at some point, maybe a few years down the road. But we're quite happy at the moment. But it is.
I once moved 3 times in 1 year. It was a total nightmare.
There's one thing that stops me from moving where I live, and that is the government, because I own my house, and if I was to go somewhere else, I would be buying again, and the government charges stamp duty whenever you buy property here, and it's ridiculous how much it is. And there was this house just down the street from me, and I swear to God, in the last 15 years that I've been living here, I reckon that house has been bought and sold about 15 times, and I'm just thinking to myself, how is it legally possible that the government can charge stamp duty every single time that property has been bought and sold? It should only just be once, I think, personally. Yeah. It should just be once. Exactly. And then the government can't charge it again because it's got its money from that property.
We can't afford to move even if we wanted to move now, because obviously the solicitors' fees and the stamp duty and all of that sort of stuff we just paid. And houses down here are more expensive than Yorkshire. No, down. I'm up here, aren't I?
Like your famous saying, Ranzee, second suck of the salve, right? They want their more money.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. All right, I'll give you an idea. So, say, what's the median house price here in our city, Chris? It's at about 600,000 Australian.
At least.
Let's do 600.
Although I guess rent is worse at the moment, and house prices are a bit lower.
So if you were to buy...
Rent is terrible. Yeah,
if you were to buy a house in my city for 600,000 Australian, which is £300,000, right? £300,000 in is not... Yeah. It's a reasonable house, not a crappy house, but it's not like a mansion or anything, right?
It's a reasonable... Again, depends on... In the UK, it depends where you are. Down here... down in Frome, because I'm not in Frome, we paid $320 for ours.
The stamp duty that the government charges, and this I'll tell you how it breaks down, is $22,515 Australian dollars, which is about £11,000 on a $600,000 property. That's insanely a lot of money. So when you think about it,
ludicrous.
So say you went and bought that house, and it's $600,000, right? And you say you didn't have $600,000, you had to go and borrow it from the bank. You would have to then add on to what you're borrowing from the bank that $22,000.
Yeah,
and you don't have anything to show for it. Like it doesn't get returned to you in the value of the property or anything.
And people get caught too because they'll put a slightly higher bid, thinking it's only another $10,000, and we got that, and then they forget about the stamp duty and go, oh shit. Yeah, it's a real trap.
Yes, indeed. Anyway,
but they want their money. They love their money.
I was just thinking to myself, I would love to write a letter to the Department of Lands and whatever they're called, and literally just get a report over the last 15 years of this particular house that's around the corner from me, to see how much the government's made out of it, because they've literally bought and sold it 15 times in the last 15 years. I know why, because
you guys have a quokka tax.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started on taxes. All of us live in a country. All of us, we are not exempt from this. We all live in a country where we've paid multiple times on the dollar we've earned tax, multiple times.
Yes,
on the dollar we've earned.
Compound.
You've earned that dollar. You've paid income tax on it.
You spend it, you pay GST.
Yep.
So
Because we
I-
have
Investor,
federal tax,
you
we have
get
state
product
tax,
tax,
and we
you
also
pay
have
more.
sales tax,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And any other tax you can think
I mean,
of. So,
I've just got a tax bill, which I've got to pay by January. It's not a massive amount, but it's a personal tax bill. My VAT tax bill will be the end of next month. I've just had my year end, so I'll be paying some corporate tax on that, and that's even before you get to buy, tax on petrol and the food that you buy and everything else. Everything. I mean, it's the same for all of us, isn't it? We are so heavily taxed.
Yep. And just think that technically the money is supposed to go back into your country, and it builds roads and it builds infrastructure and blah blah blah. But then you see politicians traveling on these jaunts, for absolutely no benefit.
Free upgrades on flights.
Yeah, free upgrades on flights.
Yeah.
We had a mayor recently travel to the sister city just because it's a once a year thing that they do. I mean, what the hell's a sister city? Who cares about a sister city? Just stay in your own city and fix your own crap.
In this day and age,
well, we have crazy military spending too, where like a hammer for a shop somewhere in the military system. Changing hands multiple times could cost several $1,000s for a hammer because of all the charges in between of moving it from place to place. So when you factor that up to big machines, and it's just crazy how much money they waste.
Yep. But the worst tax.
You've got Elon.
The worst tax we all of us here personally.
Don't, Darren, don't.
The worst tax, don't Darren. The worst tax we all pay
garbage.
is import tax. I think that is nasty. Like, musicians should not have to pay import tax because it's just not fair. I don't think it's fair.
And with Trump in, we could
get worse.
People, as I said, I'm just waiting to see.
Yeah,
whether
tariffs are
we're
going to
gonna
kill everything.
You know who's not going to
Whether-
like
Sell
Trump?
stuff here.
I'll tell you, there's one person who will definitely not like the fact that Trump's in now, and that's Yuli Beringer. He won't like it at all because his factory is in
because all the
China.
Behringer cheap stuff is going to be
Exactly.
expensive.
He won't like it. Yeah. Unless he can come up with a way to make it look like it's come from America.
Exactly. Wow. Well, I'm worried about my stuff. People sending stuff to America. I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah. I mean,
they
you're an
already
exporter.
pay a fair bit of. Yeah. Well, they already pay a fair bit of tax in America, in their state quite often.
Yeah, so any Behringer fan who voted for Trump, you get what you pay for. You deserve it.
I've been told, I don't know how true this is, but I've been told that Australia is safe from any sort of changes to the current tax exemptions for exporters. That's what I've been told. And I've also been told it's similar for the UK because there's this thing going on between this thing called AUKUS, right, between the three countries. And AUKUS is like it's like a trade / defense treaty that happens between the three countries. So everyone scratches everyone's backs, and as a result, people get benefits like
Did
tax
Ian
treaties.
instantly vanish then? Oh, it must have
He
been
did.
on a freeze frame.
Yeah,
He just
sorry, no,
literally
what happened
instantly
was that
vanished.
my AirPods died, so I've actually gone back to the microphone.
Darren's got some conspiracy theories going
But
on right now.
I just disappeared.
He's never been real.
No, but it
He's
must have
been
been on a
AI
glitch.
all this time.
Ian's going through the dark
he's-
web, so he's.
Ian's not real. He's an AI that
not
Ranzee
real.
invented to make his show more interesting.
Yeah, I am Max Headroom.
Bop, 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 bop.
Where's that
you think
that
what?
black cat
So,
when you need
I
it?
think was you must-
apologies to everybody.
Too Darren.
Oh,
It's all actually Daren driving the whole show.
Uh-oh.
In the
Just doing it to get Darren's running the
Darren
whole show.
controls
He's just doing it
horizontal,
to
Darren
get
controls
sound
vertical.
bites for his music.
Yeah, exactly. It's in the dark.
It's the outer limits.
Oh, yeah, it must have glitched just as he got up. So when it come back, it looked like it just
Exactly.
literally vanished.
No, he has magic
So some
powers.
people now he told me that she was dead. You know.
Fair enough. Well, and on that stupid note, I think we should end the show. Thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget, same bat time, same bat channel next week. Hopefully we can see you there. Thanks Daren and Andy and Ian and Chris and Chatties for being part of the show. See you all next week.
Thank you, Rant.
Bye guys.
Bye, guys.
Yeah.
Bye, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.
Take care.